everybody, before we move on, we gotta tell you about our sponsor, Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which is why you can use it right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great and authentic. They'll distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard everywhere from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many, many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Netflix is in this position where they're constantly trying to do more original movies, more original shows, because of course all of the studios are trying to get their own streaming services.
Yeah, save themselves some money.
Especially once Disney pops up, and again, Disney will have all the access to their shows, ABC, all of the subsidiaries under
Fox.
Disney, and then of course 20th Century Fox.
Yep.
And the rumor, I believe, is that the subscription service will be like $6 or $7.99, so they will completely undercut everybody else.
Of course they will.
Of course, because they can't.
Of course they will. I said, of course they will. They're Disney.
Which is like, when you think about it, that's like drug dealer logic. You know what I mean? where they give out their samples like for free or for cheap because they know they're going to get
Yeah, they're going to get.
People are going to come back and then you can keep charging. Yeah,
and the Disney name.
$6.99. Yeah, it's going to be $6.99 for like the first year, or until like they bankrupt Netflix or something, and then the second either Amazon Prime or Netflix or Hulu shuts down, boom, Disney's going to be like $15.
You know, it's interesting that you talk about Netflix bankrupting, because one, I think they're kind of killing themselves, one, by upping their charges, two, because a lot of people I know, when I talk to them, they're like, oh, I don't watch Netflix anymore because all they have is trash on there. And I'm like, there are some bad Netflix movies, but there are some good Netflix movies too, and that goes for shows as well. So it's really interesting kind of how the landscape is changing again in the whole situation, because it seems like there's a lot of anti-Netflix people going around now, which I understand and then I don't, because it's just like, it's entertainment, guys. I mean, who cares if they are making their own movies? I mean, who cares?
But again, the simple truth is, I'm being what they are. If you look at like the prime demographics that are watching the streaming services, which are young people, don't have a lot of money, and the simple fact is that if you're budgeting super tight, that $15 a month can really
that's just true.
Especially if you're doing all of the streaming services like Amazon. You can either do the lump sum of like $100 or the year, or do it $12 a month. Hulu is great because we're not paid by Hulu, by the way.
No, we're not. We wish we were.
No, because we wish we were.
Or Netflix.
Hulu is connected with Spotify, so if you pay that fee, you get both Spotify and Hulu, which is which is a big thing. And of course, with Amazon Prime,
might I add, Real Sharks is on Spotify, everybody.
Real Sharks is up, but if you are on Spotify,
continue.
You can check out Real Sharks. PM. Please support it. But it's like with Spotify, with Hulu, you get Spotify, and with Amazon Prime, of course, you get your free shipping. So it's like and in fact, most people probably have the Prime account just for the free shipping, and then of course now they have a whole slew of TV shows that they can just watch.
Mm-hmm. Man in the High Castle.
So plenty of people may not be going to Amazon Prime specifically for the movies, but they're certainly not going to cancel their account because of Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Like, if the show sucks, they're just going to still keep their, they're still going to keep the free shipping. They're still going to keep their Prime account for cheaper shipping in deals. So that'll not go away. Netflix is in such a weird situation in which all of the other studios are trying to pull out to get their own streaming services, so they're removing films. And then, of course, Netflix doesn't have any other sort of company to attach to itself. So it's only the streaming service.
Yeah.
So really, all they have to rely on is those originals.
Because there's content they put out. Yeah.
Because especially once Disney comes up, they're pulling all of their Marvel stuff, and that's going to probably really hurt them.
Oh yeah.
Because I know I like the Netflix stuff so that I could have the Marvel movies. But
oh, you like the Marvel shows?
So we'll see. No, not just the shows, but the movies. All the Marvel movies are on there. Marvel shows are going away. They're like, I think they all basically had to cancel.
Have you heard about this? It's been going on it's been going around online now for about a good half the year now, I would say. This idea.
You went on? Yes, I did.
No, close. This idea that Snowpiercer is the sequel to Willy Wonka. Have you heard this?
So you texted me this, and I decided to look it up. The first video was 30 minutes, so I'm like, I'm not giving this guy that view. So
what did you think of that?
I decided to look up. So I looked up some articles and kind of looked at the breakdown, and it's a fun theory.
It's interesting.
I don't begrudge him.
No, it's interesting.
But the structure of it is like, you could say the same thing about The Grey.
Yeah.
Functionally, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's a survival movie in which everybody's like picked off one by one as they go to the journey. Like that's every horror movie. That's every survival movie. Incidentally, like the Poseidon Adventure, which incidentally starred Grandpa Joe, the first one, the first Poseidon Adventure. Incidentally, Grandpa Joe was in that, where it's like, trying to survive, going through a hostile territory, getting picked off one by one. That's the Poseidon Adventure. That's The Grey. Yeah, I keep focusing on The Grey, but it's like,
no, I know what you're saying. I know what you're talking about. You can add this to anything. You can do this really easy to any film. And, the reason, and it took me a minute to kind of think about how he did this, and I was like, I do know how. And it's because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, first of all, it's not like the book. Though there's so for those listeners who know,
right.
there's a book and then there's the movie. The movie done by Tim Burton is actually more closer to the book, so spoiler. Anyway, the whole premise of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is it starts out with this idea you don't really learn anything about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's already established. It's all we know when we enter the world of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's already known that he's the greatest candy maker of all time. So you can easily make up all this stuff as you go along and say, oh, see, this is how it is like this. And he obviously runs a factory that's self-sustaining.
Yeah, I was waiting for, like a real connection, like maybe there was a piece of technology that felt the same way, but it's like it doesn't, like Snowpiercer doesn't feel like, a Willy Wonka, like the train doesn't feel like something Willy Wonka would do, frankly.
No.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's one of the things that, Snowpiercer is it's a weird film because, of course, it was, I was about to say, it's a weird film because, of course, it was made in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
But what I meant was, like, South Korean cinema often deals in very surreal elements that I think that they accept more. I think, like, if this was a purely American film, there would be a little bit more attempt to, like, make it a little more, I guess, like, they would try to make the train a little bit more,
it'd be about how America beat climate change. That's what it would be about.
Or there would be elements that would feel like, okay, they would try to explain how certain things work. I think in Snowpiercer, one of the great things about it is, there's something very surreal and strange. Or like, how does any of this work?
Mm-hmm.
But like, you just kind of accept it because like, this is a very strange, this is a alien world, frankly. Like that, this is a world that does not. This is a world that exists in its own place. This is not our world. And it's strange and ridiculous.
I think what's interesting is like the Veruca Salt connection. That was interesting. The Mike TV one, I think, is stretching. One of the pieces of evidence he presented, though, that I thought was really, really intriguing, the one that made me kind of double take on it and go, oh, okay, is the fact that there is a W everywhere. I was like, that's interesting, actually. It's just kind of a correlation.
Okay, yeah.
Coincidental, but it was interesting.
But isn't that like the character? Like, isn't the main character his name is W or Snowpiercer?
It's like Wilson or William or something like that. It's a change. Yeah. It's definitely not Charlie.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me wonder though. Is like, why bounce around? It makes me think of like Pink Floyd and the Wizard of Oz. It's like they to this day still don't say if they did the whole Dark Side of Oz with their album. But it's just like, come on, nowadays let's just say it. Let's just get out with it. I think honestly, if there was a connection, the guy would have said it. I mean, why not? What would he? What would he lose by saying it?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, and I don't think that was the director's intention. You know what's an interesting idea? I think it would be interesting if they made a new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory with Charlie as like the Willy Wonka character, and then him dealing with a new era of kids.
That would be interesting.
About like how that would play out. You know, how did Charlie take to running the chocolate factory? And and again, it was mostly from Charlie's perspective, because then we would, and then it would be kind of that perspective where we would kind of see his internal logic and start to kind of make the connections of where Willy Wonka, like why did Wonka think this way? Why did that's my thought. That'd be interesting.
I think that'd be interesting too.
It is true. Men possess a side that is marvelous, as you have observed. But it is a double-edged sword. It can be a tool used for winning precious things as well as protecting them.
So, you want to go ahead and talk about the new Spider-Man movie that you saw?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on real quick.
It's funny that we bring this up. And I just literally 2 minutes ago, I'm like, fucking kids movies. And don't forget to talk about fucking Spider-Man. I'm a hypocrite, I admit. Yeah, so I saw the new Spider-Man Far From Home. So, in terms of the live action stuff, I would say this is a solid B or C kind of deal. Definitely nothing special, but it does have some pretty good moments. So one of the things I kind of like, one of the things that's interesting about both live action Spider-Man movies is like the kind of genre that they blend. Because both this one and Spider-Man Homecoming, they kind of blend, with teen comedy, kind of a John Hughes style, with also superhero stuff, which is interesting because the first one was, high school prom movies. There's like elements of that kind of, I feel, of Eurotrip, with, and then of course Mysterio. I guess one thing, I'll say spoilers for some people, and I won't get too into it, but if you know anything about Mysterio, if you know his deal, you can probably guess where the movie's going to go, based off of the trailers of where Mysterio pops up. It seems pretty obvious, and then of course, it happens as I suspected, because I called it the second I saw it in the trailer. I'm like, this guy's doing trickery, and of course, that's exactly what he's doing. I will say that they do, when Mysterio gets sort of when when the reveal happens, and then Mysterio goes kind of like all in on his allegiance